Alex, start the beat.
Welcome to the Guys with Beards. I'm Sean.
I'm David.
I'm Alex.
Kyle. And then our guest here, Caleb.
Yeah, I'm back.
Second time.
Yeah, nice.
So it's about the end of the year here. We're going into 2020. So we're going to talk about kind of 2019.
Yeah.
New year, new setup.
Yeah, look at all
Some-
this.
some-
You can see me.
This is setup 1.0
hello,
in
hello.
alpha.
You know, it's in the works.
Pretty redneck,
Yeah.
but it's
Hey,
good. It's good.
That's how we do.
Good job,
It's
man.
working.
And as you can see,
We're
Caleb
working.
doesn't have quite of a mighty
He's got
beard.
scruff,
No,
so
he's-
it's acceptable.
Man, that's
it's
a beard
definitely
if I
beard.
ever seen one.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah,
Look at that.
it's coming in.
Look at that. Yeah.
It fits the
So that-
line. That's what we're looking
Get
for.
that in the shot.
Yeah.
All right.
But we're going to talk about kind of our favorite games, our favorite movies of 2019, just our favorite things as we're going on to the next
And some of
year.
our not favorite things.
Yeah, sure.
These are
Yeah.
a few of my not favorite things.
Yeah. Watch Mojo Top 10. But I guess you want to start out, Sean, with a notable pick. We can just go around the table.
Okay. Game-wise, I think my favorite game, so hard. Halo Reach on PC was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's monumental. I mean, how long have we been waiting for that on PC?
A long time.
I think since the game initially released on
Yeah,
console,
since
people have been asking for it on PC since, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
after the botched release of the console MCC, I think people
Oh, yeah.
were waiting for something really good to come back.
People have been waiting for Halo on PC ever since Halo 2 on
Yeah.
PC. Been waiting for it to come back. Because of mods.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, now that Forge isn't available yet in the actual game, but what it is with the controller setup in the anti-cheat version or the non-anti-cheat version.
Yeah, if
So.
you get mods.
I know a couple of the classic maps are on there, like Frogger and stuff like that. Some people playing it, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah,
you can,
yeah.
you can mod it in.
I think it's gonna explode once Forge is accessible to everyone.
Oh, I cannot wait for the workshop content
Also,
for Forge.
when Halo 3 comes out,
Yeah,
it's
that'll be
over.
the big
It's
one,
over.
Halo
Yeah.
3.
I'm waiting on 2 and 3. Those are
I
my
heard a
most
rumor
anticipated.
Combat Evolved was coming soon.
Well, probably.
I think they're going chronologically for the release of the MCC
Yeah.
and
Oh, they
PC.
are,
So
they
yeah,
So it's gonna go Reach, Halo 1, Halo 2,
3, and
Halo
then
3. No,
ODST.
it's Halo 3
How's that
ODST, then
chronological?
3,
oh, you're right.
'Cause-
Timeline wise, ODST happens first.
and then
yeah.
4, and then
I think that's it. I don't think they
Halo 5, the best Halo game.
might want to do a take back on that there, bud. You
Okay,
know.
for sure the best Halo game.
But I mean, yeah, I could say I'm completely satisfied with Reach's release on PC. I know it had some problems on the Xbox beta client. I know you had some problems when you initially launched it on there.
Oh, on the
before
Windows.
Steam,
I
Windows.
got
Yeah.
a new Xbox
the Game Pass, right?
Game
Yeah.
Pass, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I tried reinstalling it. I tried everything.
It's
Bought it on
it's still
Steam.
pretty early service too.
So
You
when I
know.
bought it on Steam, it worked.
Yeah. Well, Steam's a reliable client, so it doesn't surprise me.
Not with everything.
Well, most things. At least quality of life's a little bit better.
Well, Steam had that huge lawsuit this year.
For what?
Valve.
I was not.
Yeah, I'll say.
Well,
Well,
that's-
Steam
I mean,
valves,
Steam,
you know.
yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about the one in France about reselling games.
Yeah. So that was a pretty big deal.
I like that. I think you should be able to sell your games.
I think this year in particular with the companies, especially with Blizzard, with the whole China thing, the whole that whole.
What about
player-
Blizzard has not been disappointing
So-
this year?
It's a lot of that, and not just games, has been on the forefront of news. With Blizzard, and then even
I
with
mean-
the loot boxes as well. That's
They
been
go
a
from
huge thing
scamming
this
their
year.
customers to literally almost killing their customers. So,
Yeah.
you know.
the first year, they were kind of seeing some resurgence in people kind of advocating for kind of major regulation for the gaming markets.
There does need to be standards
Oh, yeah.
for this kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
There really isn't any big regulation.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
It's
kinda,
such a young market that
yeah.
I mean, we don't know what's going on yet.
People are still trying to figure out exactly what needs to go where. So,
But
yeah.
Let's keep on focusing
So
on
let's
the
focus
good
on
games.
let's
the
focus
game-
on the highlights here.
So
like
it just
we're
went
supposed
really negative really quick.
to. Well, whenever you talk about Bethesda in this last year, it's always going to be
Yeah.
negative.
So what other games did you like this year?
3 Houses. Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
I think you're the only one of us that did play that. So,
Yeah.
not for the lack of it's not a good game, because it is a good game.
It made Japan's Game of the Year
Yeah,
chosen
exactly.
by Nintendo Switch owners, I believe.
Yeah.
You fucking weeb.
I mean, it looks good from what I've seen. If you like, it's a little XCOM like. I mean, it's got its own little nuances, I'm sure. But
Yeah. I mean,
the base
I
of the
would
gameplay is
consider
like that.
XCOM, like, I
Yeah.
can see how you could offend some Fire Emblem people.
Yeah, like I
calling
said, it's
XCOM
the Fire
like-
Emblem's got tons of its own nuances, but
Well,
in the spirit of how it plays at the
It's-
base level, it's kind of like XCOM.
For those who are not familiar with Fire
It's a
Emblem,
tactical RPG.
Yeah. And I mean, I haven't played a lot of Fire Emblem games personally. It's not my series, but I mean, this game has been great for the series, I think.
A lot of people say it's their favorite.
Yeah.
It's the only Fire Emblem I've really played.
My favorite
And it's-
Fire Emblem is Marth in Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
I gotta agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Roy guy.
Roy's pretty cool.
It's
man.
Ike, dude. What are you
Yeah,
talking
Ike's
about,
pretty
man?
I'm more of a Wario. It's my favorite
Dude,
Fire Emblem character.
yeah.
I mean, Fire Emblem Warrior World 3.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody remember that
Fire
one, right?
Emblem, the garlic
The most
series.
powerful anime swordsman.
What was your favorite game? It's your guest here.
Tough choice.
Favorite
A lot of
game is hard
choices.
to say. I'll say one of them that really carried me through this year was Smash Ultimate.
Yeah.
Coming
came
out
out
in
this year?
Well, it came
Well,
out
December 2018.
Oh, okay.
But
Close
the hype
enough.
definitely ran through the first quarter half
was-
of the year.
It was definitely like all right, 2019, time for Smash Ultimate kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah.
That game made me
remember-
buy a Switch.
I remember just
Yeah.
hounding for info about all the DLC characters
Oh, yeah.
that they were coming out.
People still are. I mean, there's a whole nother season pass already planned.
Yeah, there's
So
one last guy, February 2020. Keep
Or
in
girl.
mind.
Or girl.
yeah, come on,
Or
Jesus.
something else.
I never really did get Piranha Plants gender.
It's a girl. I'm pretty sure that's what Sakurai said.
I need to see the facts on that one.
Yeah, I didn't know plants.
You know,
were
yeah,
boys or girls.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't now.
The great question of life. But I mean, outside of Smash, I think there are a lot of other notable games. I mean, obviously we have to talk about the one that won Game of the Year this year, Sekiro, which we have.
Which game is it?
The Game Awards.
Game Awards.
Yeah.
There's like 50. Which
Well,
one?
the one- the-
Game Awards. I mean, the most
I mean,
recent.
the big one that's
Yeah.
already out.
Well, it won Game of the Year, and we've already talked about Sekiro a little bit, so we don't need to give you the whole spiel on what it is. I want to more talk about why it won Game of the Year. I think that it builds on what Dark Souls is and makes it better systematically, in my opinion. I really personally have a huge fan boner for games that do good parrying. I fucking love it. Just why I'm in love with Jedi Fallen Order. Same kind of thing. I rebind that shit exactly like Sekiro. And so I think it lends a hand to even other games this year, for example, like Jedi Fallen Order, that just has a great basis as a game that at a fundamental level makes the player challenged, and I don't know, you keep wanting to play more of it. It's addicting, honestly.
I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, there's parts of Dark Souls that I wish were in Sekiro, but understanding with the show, they shouldn't. Not that I wish they're in Sekiro, that they're not in Sekiro, but they shouldn't be, and that's what makes Dark Souls Dark Souls. But in that sense, I
Yeah.
think Dark Souls does it better.
Dark
And
Souls
that's
has
the
better
same-
customization.
Yeah, it is
for
more
sure.
customization, and I like that it's a little bit more based off of that classic tabletop
And your character is more
RPG
personable.
feel.
I mean, the
Your
character feels
character's
like
more
yours.
personal. Yeah, it does feel more like yours.
Yeah.
The biggest thing to me was weapon count.
Yeah.
Weapon count's a huge thing, and it's also like part of the huge customization process of Dark Souls. So that's one thing you just don't see in Sekiro, which like
But I don't think it would have worked in Sekiro.
no,
you know?
that's what I'm saying.
Especially
like,
if, you know,
it's not that
Sekiro
it
has a
should have
pocket
been in
dimension with
Sekiro.
some giant flame sword in it. You know, I just don't think that would have worked out too well. But it is what it is. But it has my bosses of the year, across the board,
The
hands down.
monkey.
Oh, don't know. That's not even the worst one. For the sake of spoilers, I'm not going to talk about bosses. But I'd say design overall, it's been the best I've seen. Even maybe not overall in like a Souls series, but I'd say like quality of life on the boss has just been
As
on point
like
for me.
I don't play From Software games.
Yeah.
But looking as an outsider looking at this game, it's probably the most appealing to me out of all
Yeah.
of the From Software games, from Bloodborne to Dark Souls to
I'd say
Demon
so because
Souls.
that game is really hard.
Yeah,
but I mean it's pleasant to look at. Too.
It
I don't
looks
know.
amazing,
I think
yeah.
the setting really helps bring out like the beauty in it.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
just fighting around sakura trees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Aesthetic's pretty strong.
Yeah.
So interestingly, the Game Awards 2019, hosted by Jeff Kiley at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles, December 12th. Sekiro did win.
Yeah.
Game of the Year. Disco Elysium received the most awards in total with 4,
Didn't play it.
and the most nominations was Death Stranding.
Now, that is one I really regret not playing.
It's a controversial topic.
I mean, I'm gonna admit it. I'm a Kojima fanboy. I always have been. I played all the Metal Gear Solid games, even the really bad ones like Revengeance, and I played a little bit of Survive. not great at all. But this game it was made for Kojima fans. This is him at his, you could argue, worst or best, because there's no one here to take him off when he has a crazy idea. He just kind of runs with it. As you can see, he's just built this insane world that's like really nuanced, and it's one of those games where you have to get like 6 hours into it and it gets better. Well, I hate to say that. That's the way he builds his games. He's all about like the super slow burn, and if you don't have patience, you probably won't enjoy it.
It was really mixed reviewed as well.
Yeah.
Like on online critiques were like, this game is so boring, it's so slow, you have to do so much like monotonous tasks to do something, which is more realistic, I guess, and so like people hated it for that aspect. But again, I think to prove your point, Kojima fanboys were like, this game's fantastic.
Yep.
But the game has flaws. The game does.
Absolutely it does. No, absolutely it does.
I think part of what fed into the negative opinions about it was as it was releasing, it was pretty much just like, I'm releasing this game. Here's something that you will never understand about it.
Yep.
And everyone was scratching their heads, and then like, when we finally got another piece of information about the game, everyone was just scratching their heads again.
Yep.
And it was pretty much like that until like, I don't know, like a month, maybe half a month from release.
Yeah. I mean, Kojima's all about exploring the human condition in his games, and it gets really convoluted with his, 2-hour cutscenes. So you end up watching a movie a lot of the time without realizing it, which I don't have a problem with. But I think like the average gamer's attention span is not healthy. It's not good. This is why a lot of people,
Is this a game or is it a medium for telling a story?
Yeah, exactly.
Primarily.
Yeah. So I think patience is a big thing when it comes to that game, especially for mixed reviews.
Yeah. So what I want to talk about as well with the podcast, and just let everyone know that I feel like we should be able to talk about games that we played this year that didn't especially come out this year. Like,
yeah, just games that we enjoyed that we discovered maybe this year.
Yeah, like Ultimate, even though that came out in 2018, we still played a lot of it this year. Red Dead Redemption 2, again, a game that came out in October 2018.
One only you played.
Yeah, I played it, and I would count it for this year because it was the beginning of January, and that game has a lot of flaws as well.
Did it come out on PC this year?
Yeah,
it did actually. Yeah,
I heard it's okay on PC.
It had some flaws. It's really buggy from what I heard.
There's a lot of PC players who are actually really not happy with Rockstar and their treatment towards their original player base.
Yeah, it sucks, but Red Dead 2 was really fun. Like, it gets boring because it's the same task over and over again, and I feel like that Donkey and Nikki Jakey did a really good job of like summing up how I felt about the game as well, but I didn't know how to put it into words like they did, and it's versus like early Rockstar games where you had so many options of doing one mission, and this is very railroaded.
Yeah,
it's very you're put on the train and you're like, enjoy the movie, right? It's the same thing with the Kojima game. It's it's very straightforward and it's not very exploratory. Versus Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds, I felt like I could do anything I wanted to.
And the funny thing is that Outer Worlds, I would argue, is a more pathwayed game than Red Dead is. And it's more of a railroad for you to follow, not that it makes you follow it, but I think on the scale of the world, Outer Worlds has a set, like, way less set places to go than Red Dead does, and does a better job of making you feel like in a world, you're in a galaxy where you can go wherever you want.
I agree.
And that does come down to storytelling, absolutely.
Outer Worlds kind of reminds me of Knights of the Old Republic 2, and how you kind of have these worlds, and you have a little bit of choice of which world you want to go to.
Yeah.
But it just kind of push you
to
one world or the other.
And I mean, anything you do progresses the narrative, but it doesn't feel like you're just doing the story. You're kind of just playing your character, you know?
You have a lot of choice with how you progress in the story.
Yeah.
But I don't think necessarily pushing you to world in a certain order is a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think just this giant open world with a bunch of planets, then you get No Man's Sky.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just Outer Worlds was just so fantastic. The music, the atmosphere, and I know we've talked about that on a podcast, but like I can't get enough of the game. And now that there's DLC coming, I can't wait to put more hours into the game.
I think it's going to be a game that was really good conceptually, and once we get a sequel, it's just going to build upon that.
And they already said they're working on a sequel.
Yeah.
Especially since, I mean, they had a smaller budget on this game, but now the support it's gotten, they're going to make a way bigger game next time.
A lot of people who criticize Outer Worlds a lot because it's worse than New Vegas. It's not as big as New Vegas. It doesn't have as much stuff to do.
Again, not as much funding. Like, you have to look at the outside, like,
say.
You have to look at everything that was behind the game.
And if you only look at a game based on the budget, then you're not looking at the game for the right reasons.
But
If
it
it's a
is
quality
a smaller
product,
game.
and that's fine. I think that we'll compare directly then. Fallout 4, Outer Worlds. I'm going to choose that every time.
Of course.
Fallout 4, larger budget, bigger world, arguably. Crappier game.
Definitely bigger world.
Crappier game. It's about the care that's put into it by the developers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think with a smaller team and a smaller budget, you have, at least more focus than a large company that with a giant team and a spread out budget, and
I wasn't too happy with some of the choices with the story.
it
compared
wasn't
to-
perfect
to
by
New
any
Vegas.
means. And it definitely, I don't know, it had the charm for me. I think that's the biggest thing. What pulls me into that kind of game is that it has that unique charm that I think Fallout doesn't carry anymore.
And honestly, I think
know?
like to go against your opinion, you're like relating it too much to New Vegas and like Knights of Old Republic 2. I think or one whatever.
That was how it was kind of marketed, though.
It is true.
It's
That is true.
marketed as
It was
the
like
sequel to New
better than
Vegas.
Bethesda, blah blah blah. Yeah, like everything. But like if you look at it as its own property and just look how like great they did with what they had, it's
It's a lot to do
so
with the setting.
good.
I think
Sure.
people expect a lot out of it because Fallout New Vegas is a different world completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you go in expecting exactly Fallout New Vegas, you're going to be disappointed.
They had to build everything
You
from
know?
the ground up. The story.
Not to say you don't make a point. I mean, it was definitely marketed like this is the spiritual
Yeah.
successor to our last great
We
game.
have a sequel, because Fallout New Vegas was a sequel. So
Yeah.
the older Fallout games
Mhm.
mixed with Fallout 3. I think now that we have a sequel, Outer Worlds 2, and like DLC, we can really get something.
It's
better.
going in the right
It's
direction.
gonna- yeah.
But
Yeah.
you slap a name on something, and if you start relating it to it and start expecting things from it,
Yeah.
which is why we end up with games of it's a Dark Souls game, or it's
Yeah.
it's like XCOM, or so people
I
start
think
expecting
it's
things out of it.
smart marketing.
You know what
I
I
mean, if you slap something like Fallout New Vegas in front of a new game, people are going to pay attention to it
Talk about a
regardless.
game
So
that's like
I think it's good to get attention grabbing, but I think it promotes a lack of individuality.
It's kind of like
In a
the
sense.
Far Cry 3 marketing.
I would
It was
agree with you if that wasn't their
Skyrim
brand.
with guns.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely like from brand to brand. But
If it was
you
a
know,
different
like,
kind of game and they were using New Vegas as a basis to promote it, I'd have more of a problem. But
Right.
it's still very, very much in the spirit of that same kind of game. So I can see why they would.
you mentioned Dark Souls. Talk about a game that's like Dark Souls, Jedi Fallen Order.
Which I briefly mentioned earlier. And now, thank you, EA, for making a game I can enjoy. I cannot tell you
Make it.
They were
involved.
the parent. They were
in
the
it.
parent
Respawns.
publisher,
I mean, Respawn's more.
it's something that they
responsible, but
put their sticky fingers on and it didn't.
Yeah.
fully.
I expected something that EA touched to be a hot pile of garbage.
I wouldn't even thank them though. It's like
No,
let's
You did your
Now,
job.
they should be
I agree.
expected to do that from the ground up.
it's true. I just think they need to know that this is a good game so that they keep
Right.
making more like it. If we keep saying, "Oh wow, it's just one good EA game out of the 10 shitty ones they made," then they're gonna keep making crap.
I just think it's kind of sad that we have to even say that.
I
at
agree.
this point.
I absolutely agree. Like when I saw Star Wars Battlefront 2, which I hear is actually way better now, they completely took out all microtransactions from it, so you can't buy anything anymore in the game. I heard they streamlined a lot of the matchmaking and stuff, which makes it better. But it shouldn't take a year to make a game good when it's already out, you know? And Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was that game. I still haven't beat it. I think I'm probably halfway through it. I'm not sure, but I've been playing on the hardest difficulty. I set it to Dark Souls because I heard it's a mix of three things in my opinion. It's Metroid, Dark Souls, and Uncharted. There's a lot of backtracking. You get abilities later on you don't have, and you visit back to planets and all that. And I think it's great that it takes from other games. It's perfect. I think that if they tried something new, may not have been worked out at all, and it would have been looked really bad for the holiday season for them. So I'm kind of glad they took pieces from other games because it worked out really well. It feels
Safe
great.
game.
Respawn had a hell of a year because they did Apex Legends as well.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apex is a big game.
And for a little bit, when it first came out, it was beating Fortnite, but I don't know about now. I think it's like extremely low player base.
I'm not sure. I don't follow Fortnite.
Yeah.
Well, they're up and coming. They're kind of like becoming a big name now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Respawn-
Respawn's been getting a lot of attention lately.
It's, they had two really good games this year, and it's like now I can't wait for what they do next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what are some of their titles they have lined up for next year? Do we know? You want to give us a little look up on that one there? Might be worth looking into.
While he's talking about that,
Yeah.
I would just like to say one thing I would have liked out of Fallen Order was maybe some choice about light side versus dark side. I feel like that's pretty integral to Star Wars games.
I agree. But that's not the kind of game this is.
I
This is
know.
a Jedi's story.
It's not my type of
But
game.
I do agree that I think, or at least I want them to do, is have not the same character. I don't want a sequel to this guy's game at all after however it ends. I just want another period in the same kind of gameplay. Like Maybe give me Clone Wars, like I played as a Jedi or a Sith on both sides, or give me another story in the style. The style works so well,
I love playing a Sith.
and that's fine.
Well
But
played.
I think having some choice is great, and I think that if they keep that style of gameplay and make some improvements to it, it's going to be amazing.
Little RPG never hurt.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I mean, the customization they already have in there isn't like groundbreaking by any means, but it feels great and it looks great. So they're stepping in the right direction, I think, and they should keep going that way.
So other games that kind of came out, Borderlands 3.
I loved Borderlands.
Yeah,
3.
I will say, despite the bugs, and there were quite a bit at launch, at least that I experienced, a couple times it crashed on me, frame rate issues here and there. But overall, the gameplay, amazing. Gameplay-wise, best Borderlands game
What
I've
did you
played.
think about it, Caleb?
It was so much fun. The gunplay is fantastic.
Yeah,
There is not a bad gun in that game.
everything
Or
feels
one that
fluid.
feels bad to shoot.
I'm surprised.
Everything feels good. I think sometimes the difficulty gets a little bit ridiculous. When you're on the higher difficulties, really everybody's just a bullet sponge.
Yeah, and they are working to fix that, they have said.
Yeah,
But that's been a
endgame's
big complaint in the
a little
community.
non-existent because of that. That you're just pouring bullets into people.
Yeah, it just takes longer to
and
take
then-
that guys down, essentially.
But there's something really addicting about the loot grind.
Oh, the loot feels so good to get. It's
Yeah, so-
it's great.
They had a new DLC coming out as well.
It's already out.
Started
The handsome jackpot thing.
Oh, goddamn.
The casino?
All right. So Respawn Games, which this is interesting because I forgot that actually EA bought Respawn.
'Cause they did
yeah.
Titanfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They own Titanfall and all that jazz. It looks like the only game that they have actually lined up is an Oculus Rift game called Medal of Honor: Above and Beyond.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm sure they're probably then. Yeah, it sounds like
At
they're going to
least
be
what
waiting
I've
till
seen.
next whatever
Yeah.
con is coming out to release their titles.
Yeah.
I mean, because they came off a good year with what they released in 2019.
Yeah.
Speaking of other games though that I thought were extremely notable this year, Resident Evil 2 remake. This has been my favorite Resident Evil game, hands down. I really love 4, and this is better than 4 for me. The only thing I could think that they could really improve on, and 2, give me a merchant. I don't know. I like the merchant. I like the idea of having a merchant. And I know it doesn't make sense in this police station being chased down by Mr. X, but like, goddamn, this
How
game.
about
is good.
opening those doors though?
It's not that bad. It's not Dark Souls bad.
Well, no, like in the original Resident Evil 2 game, there was always the cutscenes. that-
Okay,
the-
but with the original Resident Evil had the weird angles and the bird's eye view that you couldn't see things coming around the corner. And now I don't want to see things coming around the corner because this game like scares the crap out of me,
it's been
and in the best way possible.
it's been a while since I've been scared of a game.
Yes.
Even though
I know
I'm-
you guys were watching me play the other day, and I remember one jumped out at me,
yeah.
and you jumped, and I was like,
I'm a little chicken shit when it comes to scary games, dude. I will always scream.
oh yeah. I know. I like punishing myself. That's why I play them. I don't know. I mean, if
Like-
they give you a gun, you have a chance. That's my only way.
Minecraft scares the shit out of me, bro.
Yeah, dude, surrounded by Endermen. Yeah,
That's
the
like
worst.
one of those like innocent horror kind of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
The
Hero
Enderman,
Brian.
the creepers.
Yeah,
Hero
yeah.
Brian.
That was a huge game this year. Is Minecraft? Who knew?
Oh, it's had a resurgence.
It-
That game specifically has had so many sales this year. I don't know exactly
It's the
why, though.
best-selling game.
What
I think-
specifically is it about this year that?
Yeah, I'm curious.
I think it was
Do you know?
I think it was because it would turn into a counterculture for all of the overlapping shit that was coming out.
From Fortnite.
Honestly, that
There was a
wouldn't surprise me.
counterculture from people being mad at Fortnite for being Fortnite, essentially.
And the bots. People are mad about the bots.
Yeah.
People mad at other games coming out that were not what they wanted.
all
it to
the
be.
battle
Like,
arena games, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat Minecraft.
And it's the 10th year
It was
anniversary.
a sense of
as
Also
well.
true,
home
yeah, it
for
was.
a lot of people. Yeah.
That's why we thought we were going to get Steven smashed for a minute there.
Did the new like kind of expansion of Minecraft?
It just
come
did,
out?
yeah.
The B update 1.15.
But before it was like big, like pillage and
Oh, Village and Pillage.
yeah.
I haven't played too much Minecraft
Well, that
this
was
year.
like
It's-
personally.
it was really
Huge
good.
Update,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
biggest update. they've
I remember
ever
seeing a
had
lot of stuff
came out
about
this
it.
year.
Yeah, that was one of the games that I had a crazy resurgence, and the other one that I've noticed is Witcher 3. And as saying as someone who personally jumped on this train, that
Did
is
the
because
Switch port come out this year or was it last year?
Switchport was this.
Switchport came out
this year,
year.
yeah.
It just came out like a month or two ago.
And then the show, the Netflix show of The Witcher with Henry Cavill came out this year, and that I think is directly correlated to why the sales are so high. Because
Yeah.
after I saw that, I was like, I'm going to watch the show, and I don't remember a lot of The Witcher lore. Like I think I need to like brush up a little bit. And well, look, 3 is $5 on Steam. why the hell not? So I bought it.
I think just
And-
recently, Witcher 3 has had its highest concurrent players of
Yep.
all time
They
since
beat-
its original release.
It has
Yeah.
more than the date it released on. It has more players than it did at
I think
launch.
a huge resurgence.
So-
Something
My
about
roommate
Minecraft I
just-
want to say.
Just got Witcher 3. and
Yeah,
just playing
it's
it.
everywhere now.
Yeah, I love the new series on Netflix.
It-
think
I-
it's really
I know
good.
everybody's not a huge fan of it, and it has its plot holes. And it's because it's more based off the books. And if you haven't really read the books, other people want the video game going in. I think
There's like this weird tone that it has. That
it's because it
kinda
flashes
like,
back and forward a lot.
I think
a
it's
lot.
just kind of weird. Like it just comes off like weird. Like I was watching it with my family, and they were like, "I like it, but it's weird." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is pretty weird." And the game kind of doesn't have that tone, but the books do. So
Yeah.
I think it's a really good kind of copy of the books because I
think
really
it's
like the books.
For me, it's the pacing issue. I got personally confused a couple times when I saw it flash back and forward, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like,
Yeah.
but other than that, I mean, the sword choreography, I'm pretty sure is up for a couple awards. I don't know. Henry Cavill busted his ass to get this role.
Henry Havel.
We're using that.
Something
Asshole
about
chain.
something. Just for a quick second, I'll return to Minecraft because you got me thinking about like why people were so into it this year.
I am curious.
This year, Minecraft became cross-playable on every console.
Oh,
Ah,
Except for PS4. Except for PS4.
No.
Well, now it is.
As
now
of
it is.
December 10th, it's now
Yeah.
PS4 as well.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
Minecraft
huge.
is on everything.
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
huge.
surprise me.
This is the year for cross-platform, like networking is like at a new high.
We need
have-
more of that.
We're playing Xbox games on PCs with PS4 controllers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's the era we're in, and I mean, Sony has been traditionally the last one to hop on those trains because they don't like working with other companies.
yeah, they've seen
Yeah.
a ton of backlash for Call of Duty Modern Warfare and for Fortnite.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
and Minecraft.
at some point
And
they had to
Minecraft,
realize
yeah.
it's just bad for their business to not do cross-platform stuff. You know,
Yeah.
that's where the money is.
I mean, nobody likes just not being able to play with your friends.
Of course. Yeah, you don't want to be shut out. But I don't know. Is there any other big notable games that people?
There's.
Not necessarily.
I have big notable ones.
I have.
but-
We don't have to
a
just talk
big
about
one
games.
for us though. Lethal League.
Oh yes.
Lethal League.
We're talking about games that didn't come out in 2019
That didn't.
that we started playing.
Lethal League Blaze.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on
And
Switch
ball
specifically.
Yeah.
Ball game.
I think we've, at least in recent memory, we played a lot more of it than we have Smash.
Yeah.
Because it's, one, just quick to play. I think it's on sale on Switch right now. So if you want, go check it out. It's an amazing game.
Wasn't on sale for me.
I bought it on sale.
You
So,
bought it before me, so I don't
yeah.
think it's on sale anymore. But
It's something worth looking into. If you like
yeah.
it's kind of hard to explain. I mean,
It's a good multiplayer game. You hit a ball around the box. Every time you get it, it get hit. It goes faster and it hits harder. And you try to hit the other person with the ball by hitting it into them.
But
There you
there's
go. I
there's
tell
so many
people-
little
That's-
like mechanics in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
game that are like so technical. You can bunt
I
the
think-
ball.
Yeah, when you boil it down, I think it turns into about like a game of rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
Kind of,
with like 6 different choices
Yeah,
essentially.
Like you can bunt, hit. You can basically
Throw.
do a smash attack.
Mm-hmm.
You can
grab.
you can grab
grab the ball. Yeah.
parry. There's so many things that like make it so interesting and fun to learn.
See, I like describing it as the baseball fighting game. And that
It's not a
gets
bad way to
people
put it.
hype about it because I've introduced that game to many people and they're like, baseball fighting game, I'm down. And
Yeah.
every person that's played it is like, this game is awesome.
and it's
like, people
not
that
even
don't
just.
play games that much love it. People that do, like,
Oh yeah,
Pretty simple to pick up.
I
and
think
it's not even just the gameplay either. I mean,
Yeah,
the
I think
soundtrack
part
kicks
of-
ass.
yeah, the
Soundtrack's
soundtrack's
amazing.
beautiful.
Funky
The
fresh
soundtrack's
beats.
bopping.
Oh, yeah.
Funky fresh
But-
beats.
I think part of what makes it so addicting is that it's eye candy. Also,
Yeah.
The
Oh,
visual
it looks
elements in it
good.
are very good. When you get to the point where like you're hitting the ball, it's going at like Mach 10.
It gets
You
start,
like
yeah.
those.
It gets a little
You start
anime,
hitting
for being
it. You
honest.
start hitting it, and it gets to the point. It does that thing that you do see in anime, and you see in Smash too, where you hit it and then it stays in place for a second, and then it poof, explodes out. It does that
Yeah.
whole thing, and it gets to the point where you start hitting it, and the screen goes negative,
Just
and
go
there's
play
flashing
it.
lights everywhere.
after the podcast,
Oh, yeah.
just go play
An
it.
Look at
excellent
gameplay
pickup.
for it. You'll honestly like
check-
looking at the gameplay
Just check
for
it
it
out
and
at
want to
least.
play it.
You might be surprised.
I think as a group, it's probably the game that we played in the most or the most.
Like
for
I
the
think
last
it's
2 months.
dominated the last month about.
Yeah.
It was-
We're
was-
obsessed with it.
I
Yeah.
think
We still are.
as
Yeah.
far as like game density playing goes, like we played it the most amount of time in the smallest amount
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah.
The most
And
in the smallest.
it brought. I think it brought out the
Grinding.
most shit talking I've ever
But
seen.
it was
in a
fun
game
shit talk
in recent
versus like
memory.
Smash.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
In
yeah.
good spirit, of course, but like, hey, you fucking suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed that ball. You're the worst player I've
You're
ever
fucking
fucking
seen.
trash.
Matches are just
You're
so
fucking
quick.
yeah.
And
Hard
exactly.
to
You-
get salty over.
Yeah.
it,
And if
too.
someone calls you out, you go, oh yeah, and you press the rematch button, you're right back in it for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's so
it's easy to get lost in the
characters
rematches.
remind me of like PS2 Tony Hawk kind of
It
games.
does remind you of like an early
All the
2000s
characters
game,
have a little
honestly.
personality to
It
them.
just came out of nowhere. Like I never heard of it. None of us ever.
No.
heard
My
of it.
brother was the first
Popped
one to
up.
tell me about it.
Yeah, it just popped
And I
up.
remember I was like, it sounds like every other indie game out there. And then like we actually played it. And I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit! Like,
But like Caleb said, it's easy to pick up. It's 4 buttons literally. There's
Yep.
only
Yeah.
4
doesn't
controls.
get more complicated
There's
than that.
jump, grab, bunt, and
Hit.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
And taunt. And
Well,
taunt.
most
the
important
taunts
thing.
are on their yeah, okay. You
Right
click
stick.
the right stick. You click the right
Yeah,
stick.
it's
But you
fine.
can also flick it for
Yeah.
the directional on. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a game that we've been playing. When we're talking about Witcher, it kind of got me thinking about like streaming services, and I think we kind of have to mention the
Disney Plus.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, Disney Plus,
Disney
The
Plus,
Mandalorian.
yeah.
Okay, Mandalorian, 8 out of 10. Disney Plus, 1 out of 10.
Horrible streaming service on everything I have. It crashes.
I cannot go through a single session of watching something without it crashing.
Really?
Ever.
I've not had a single problem with
Me
Disney
neither.
Plus. It has been flawless.
What are you guys
my-
using it on? What are you guys using? It on?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Xbox
really
One.
old. I use
I'm using my
a
PS4.
Amazon Fire Stick.
I'm using it on a TV. My roommate has it.
It has crashed for me multiple times or stopped midstream.
What did you
and
say
it's
you
just,
use it for? Like, or use it on? Sorry?
PS4.
PS4.
That's what a lot of people have it on. I shouldn't have a
Yeah.
problem on one of the main like consoles, you know.
Another thing they messed up with Disney Plus was The Simpsons. Was they put it in 16:9 when the original
Yeah.
episodes are in 4:3.
Let's be honest. A lot of people got the service for Mandalorian. A lot of people.
I
I'm
got
one of them.
Corey in the house. I have Corey in the
They,
house.
they don't have Corey in the house.
I think it's like rented out to iTunes. So
That sounds
iTunes
bad.
has it right
So
now.
they'll get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That contract.
I feel like they're
That's
not.
all Raven will have to do for now.
They're not doing that good with the actual streaming.
It's
At
the
least in my
platform.
opinion. I feel like they're just pumping a bunch of shows on and saying like, "Oh, you want to see Mandalorian? Buy a streaming service."
Yep.
That's
And
my biggest problem with it is that it's not even like it's not even the bugs, not even the crashes. It's the concept of all of the Disney programming is pretty much on everything else already. You already have things like Hulu and Netflix that you're paying subscriptions for.
Yep.
And then they decide to like almost like the opposite of what video games has done, where video games is spread out to like other places and has been more connected.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact opposite. They're saying, "Give me my shit,
Yeah.
so I can put on my own streaming platform and then make other people pay for it."
It was gonna
I'm
happen
not gonna
eventually,
Do anything
'cause-
innovative with my
Yeah.
streaming
I'm not
service.
gonna do
just
anything different.
collect
I'm just gonna have
everything.
all
Yeah.
my shit on it because I own everything, and you're gonna have to pay for it if you want to see it.
Basically,
And I'm
the
not gonna
Epic
lie.
Game Store, Epic Game
Yeah.
Store.
They
of
released it too
streaming
early.
Services.
The only reason why I bring this up specifically is because I'm salty that they took X-Men animated series off of Hulu when it was already on it.
Yep.
And now I have to watch it on Disney Plus, which is something I have to pay for.
Which crashes more.
It's don't get me wrong, X-Men animated series isn't something that
Oh, yes.
you know like buy a whole new streaming
Some people do.
subscription for, but like
People do for the
It's-
Mandalorian.
I'm sure there's plenty of other things that are on Disney Plus that were already on other things.
Yep. I
And
mean,
now people are
it was
just
it was
like,
about
"All right,
money. That's what it
here's
comes
my
down to at the
wallet."
end of the day.
It's like it's going back to cable again. You want these shows, you got to buy this channel.
Yep.
We're kind of we're looping back,
I miss
except
when
in
Netflix
digital
had everything.
media.
Well, that would be interesting comparatively to like cable cost. Would it be cheaper to have all the streaming platforms
Oh, it's cheaper than cable.
than cable? So like,
Yeah.
I can
I mean, it's
understand
still not an
why.
excuse if you're
Exactly,
charging your
yeah.
customers for a program or a streaming service that you say is complete, that you have shows that people want to watch and that will watch it like for hours on end. It should be consistent. It shouldn't be crashing, because it's not worth the money you're paying for it. And I personally am going to cancel my subscription because Mandalorian's over, so I'm waiting until it comes back out to get more Disney Plus. Because
Yeah.
why else do I have it?
I
You know.
saw the other Disney Plus streaming service that everyone got Disney Plus for. Just kidding. The High School Musical one.
Oh,
I
wait, the
watched
High
it.
School, the musical.
Yeah, I watched it.
The
I remember
Musical
saying
musical?
that's legitimately
Yeah,
what
I
it
know,
is,
yeah.
and I remember seeing. I
watched
went,
it. Do you actually watch it though?
no, I didn't. I went, that's the reason why I'm canceling my
it's
subscription.
Like a 6 out of 10. Like it's not horrible.
Wait, you watch
it's not
it?
good. I watched. 2
Well, I'm
episodes.
curious to know what it
Just out of
is.
curiosity.
Is it
Just out
too
of
meta?
curiosity.
It's like a TV show based around High School Musical, but it's new,
Oh,
so
hell
it's
no.
kind of
It's not.
different.
It's not very good. It's not very interesting. They don't do anything.
Can we
new.
move on?
and then you end up with
Nothing
fucking.
wrong with High School Musical.
And then
No,
next
no,
thing you know,
no.
you're Degrassi. I don't know, like.
I'm just saying,
Pop,
like,
pop,
it's
pop,
on there.
right
They
to the
advertise
top.
it.
All right,
It's a big
podcast
thing.
over.
But yeah,
Advertise it.
Disney Plus is definitely a good game of the year.
Yeah, top streaming service of the year for sure.
Google
Cancel
Stadia.
Netflix, cancel
but-
Google
Hulu.
Stadia. Let's talk about Stadia.
All right, that's it.
All right,
I don't think
so-
any of us have had the Stadia.
So, the
you?
Stadia, as I understand, just for everybody that's not familiar with what it is, it's Google's video game console, and it works by instead of playing the games on your console, it streams them from Google's center on. So
To
it
your
streams it
device,
on your
yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
So you're not playing it yourself. So theoretically, you should be able to buy a cheap console and play any game you want.
I think it's
But-
a very interesting concept.
But not
think
well
it's very
executed
interesting.
initially.
Apparently, the best way
Maybe
to play
it'll be
it-
good in the future. It's just
Apparently,
at
the
the
best way to play it was actually in handheld mode. From what I heard, is the smartphone
Really?
was like the best way. I would think that play.
Sorry.
I missed that.
Nice. So did I.
Yes.
So did I, Siri.
I would say it's nice what they did in the sense of accessibility, where like you can go on your web browser on your laptop and play stuff. You
Yeah,
can go on
I mean,
your
I
phone
think
and
that
play
was the
stuff.
point.
That was what they were going for, and I'm not gonna lie. From what I was reading and what from some people are saying, I think it works for you if you're an extremely casual gamer and you have a lot of money and you're just don't want to own a physical
And
console and you just want to
that's
like
Part of the
I
problem.
want game on TV right now.
It's just, it's like being the Apple of
Yeah.
fucking consoles.
But as
People
far
don't
as
got that money.
yeah, as far as like internet game streaming is going, I'm just gonna mention GeForce Now. That was a whole thing that Nvidia was coming out with, where
Yeah.
it was like, just use our graphics cards to play your games. Don't worry about it. You know, like they tried it, and like no one at this table probably knows about GeForce Now, do they?
No, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. It was
mean,
essentially
we're
their
the-
attempt at it, and if the people who make the hardware that are playing these games, if they take a crack at it and they can't get it to work, I don't see too much of a point. And I can blame this partly on how about how internet is used now. You know what I mean? Like it's internet's getting expensive. Really, really good
Yeah.
internets are getting internet connections are more and more expensive, and those kind of services require really high speed internet if you
Yep.
want if you want good quality. I was hearing that like connection from controller to screen was actually really good. There was actually no problem with connectivity in that. But it really is just dependent on your internet, and that's like a variable that any of us that I know would want to rely on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, we're in the day and age of streaming services, so I mean, everyone's trying to make their own streaming service for games.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
Well,
the next one, and you never know because it's this giant muddled pool of shit that does or doesn't work.
Xbox
I
Game
believe-
Pass is
I
pretty
believe
good.
one day that it will come out and it will
Yeah,
be
one
good
day
because
it'll be a
if-
little
think about it.
Hold on, hold on.
It is
Think about
when
it, like-
the games you want to play, or it isn't when the games you want to play don't work.
Play it on the Xbox. PC, I don't know. That's
Well-
why it's $1 a month on
well,
PC. But Xbox
it's-
Game Pass
it's
on the
fine.
Xbox.
I do have it on
my bad.
It was
PC.
$1 for a month.
Yeah, and I got it for free when I built my new PC for 3 months. I still have it. I didn't have any problems with Gears of War 5, but I know counter to that, you had huge problems with it for Halo.
It would
Yeah.
not work.
Yeah, and
It wouldn't work.
I think that's probably more
Well, but I
on,
did
on
work.
on the game than the service, but the service is still
Yeah.
really new, so there's a lot of problems with it.
But on-
Don't
honestly.
get me wrong. I
Yeah.
think
Exactly, it is in beta, so I mean you're paying a low amount for it.
I think that it will get. I think that like one day, a company is gonna come out with a version of it that's gonna be like amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not like if you think about it, 7 or 8 years ago, everyone was like, one day we'll get good portable gaming, and then
Yeah.
like Nintendo,
Here we are.
here's a Switch, baby.
Switch is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
You know what I mean?
Xbox
So,
Game
like, I'm
Pass
expecting
has
something like
so many games on it. That's how I played Outer Worlds. Was because
Yeah.
of the
Play
Game Pass.
Outer Worlds. They got Gears on it. They actually have a good selection.
They do have a really good
They have
selection
all the
on there.
banjos.
What?
Yeah.
They have Banjo Kazooie
On the Xbox, they have
on PC.
they have all 3 banjos.
You might, you never know.
So
So I mean, for the price you're paying for it, it's really not that. Like if a game doesn't work,
You
you
can
can't be
get
the
them.
most upset because
You know
it's
what they
cheap.
should release Banjo Kazooie on? Switch.
They're gonna release everything on the
You can
Switch
get the
eventually.
Sonic
One
games
day
on
the
Steam,
internet
too.
will be on the Switch.
The what?
We're just
Can you
gonna
get
have
the
everything.
One
Sonic
day
games on Steam?
Netflix will be on Switch. Mark my words.
Sonic
Disney
games?
Plus.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
can't you get the Sonic games on Steam or something of that?
Yeah,
nature?
I have
You
a whole
buy
bunch
it-
of
Yeah,
them.
I was gonna say you.
I have
one.
I have one of the whole collections of
Yeah.
them.
So
Oh,
there's,
you
a,
can
there's
have
already
Sonic
a bridge
Adventure,
there. There's already
yeah.
a bridge there.
played
Sonic,
Heroes.
Sonic All Stars Racing.
If it's a Sonic game,
Yeah.
it's on Steam.
Yeah, Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh,
Maybe not.
Yeah,
Oh.
that one might not be.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
is Mania
That's
on
a
PC?
Shadow game, not a Sonic game.
It's
Well,
in the
maybe it's on
Sonic
PC.
series, so I mean,
It's a gray area.
It's a shadow.
it's a
hedgehog.
shadow
Sonic
area.
has
Guns.
the Hedgehog.
it is Sonic with guns. Yeah, it's my 2019 game of the year, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Sorry,
Dude.
Sonic the
Guns.
Hedgehog was a sweet game. Don't it?
It had multiple endings.
And
Um,
multiplayer.
Oh, the multiplayer was so stupid. Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
shut up.
Dude, it was so bad. I don't even know how to get to the menu to actually select the multiplayer. Oh, you're talking about like the matches. Yeah, those are fun. No, did you know you could play 2-player in the campaign?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I did not know how to get that.
You plug in your controller and you do it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
The end.
I've tried that like
It's
6
whoever
million
your
times.
follower guy is. Like, if you have Tails or Knuckles or Sonic following you, 2-player can play as them.
Yeah.
Like, nothing
So it
actually-
doesn't. It depends on the level then. It doesn't.
It's
Well,
not
I think
big.
on any level, you'll always be able to pick one of those people to be able to help you.
It's not like the original.
Well, at the very worst, they
Sonic
gave you
games.
Metal Shadow as a friend character, because that's what the multiplayer was. It was
I
Metal
remember
Shadow
I
versus
thought it was
regular
Sonic.
Shadow.
I thought it was Sonic in the first one.
In the
Like in the first level.
Yeah.
It was Sonic.
The
Yeah.
first
You can
level,
have them play it.
pick Sonic or the Black
Alright.
Temple.
Yeah.
These
This
games
is-
did not come out in
This
2019.
is turning into
Shadow the Hedgehog is the best game. All right.
2019 games.
I'd say, okay, I'm going to talk just some small bases here that were on my list that I got into pretty recently. First one was Osu.
Well,
I
yeah,
played Osu
in
this
that
year.
world.
It's a very fun, very free, good rhythm game that honestly, if you want to get good at mouse accuracy and control, which applies to many, many, many other games, and you want to have fun doing it, it's good. It's a good game to vibe with for sure. I enjoy that. Lots of
Vibe.
downloadable, lots of downloadable
Lots of
free maps.
waifus.
Lots of
I won't plug it anymore. I won't plug it anymore. Love you, Guilt. Other than that, though, I've been playing this other game that's been ringing around. You know, our friend group here, and that's Mirador, which is a really it's an interesting concept of a game. Actually, it's still in alpha or like pre-development, so I'll say it has its bugs right now, but is constantly being developed by devs that seem very interested in what they're doing for once.
Yeah.
In games like this, essentially you're just essentially it's Dark Souls. No, essentially you're fighting other people's bosses that they make, so that you can get better gear and better upgrades to your own bosses that you make for other people to fight as well. And it's just like this loop of you doing nonstop boss rushes against unique bosses. Their customizability is honestly at really, really high level, down to pattern, down to just patterns for your whole health bar, just patterns for part of your health bar, what specific moves do what. So it's really interesting in that sense. And honestly, it's $10 on Steam right now. I'd pick it up now before when it releases, and it's probably going to be like 20-25.
Speaking of games that start with an M,
And it's 2-player right now as well, which is also nice.
did Mordhau come out in 2019?
I do not think so.
I do not think so.
I
Well,
don't think so either.
For those who
but
didn't,
Mordhau.
shouting it out, because I played a lot of that in 2019,
I love that game.
and it's like, I don't know, I got like TF2 vibes a little bit, you know, just running and screaming at people about, you know, glory, and then getting your head chopped off 2 seconds later because you're bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Classic.
I had a blast with it. It's a
I
little
wanna
overpriced,
kinda go back
but
to 2019 as a year. Movies.
oh yeah, I did want to touch on movies for sure.
So, big movies that came out in 2019. I'm
Cats.
surprised we're not
Get the hell out of
Frozen
here!
talking about Avengers Endgame.
The literal end of an era.
Yeah.
At
Avengers
2019.
Endgame came out this year. So, let's
Yep.
talk about that.
I'm not gonna lie. Now that it's like gone and passed and had its glory days, it's like a desert almost.
I mean, it's because they're transitioning to their next phase.
Of course, everyone's.
so,
It's definitely just companies hopping on what's the next big thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would say they milked the crap out of that.
Yeah.
Like,
You got like Captain
they
Marvel.
built up the
it was built up well.
3 years of movies building up to
I mean,
it. Like,
The thing about Endgame is you can't judge it solely as a movie because it doesn't work solely as a movie. It works as a series. If you had just Endgame by itself, it wouldn't make any sense.
Although Infinity War works
It's-
perfectly
yeah,
as
it's
a
fine
single
by
movie,
itself.
Is a fantastic.
I'm just
movie.
saying Endgame
It's
is not.
it's part
not
two.
its own movie.
It's literally
Exactly.
part two. It's
Well,
like the
I-
Deathly Hollows.
It
It's
doesn't
actually
feel like
like
a part two.
I
though.
think Infinity War could work by itself. Endgame could not.
I agree.
Endgame is the glorious finale. You
Yeah.
can't just go straight to the glorious finale.
And you
You
like
know?
they build up the characters. I mean, the reason why it's a franchise is because then you actually have connections to all the characters, unlike Rise of Skywalker.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll get there.
but
I think.
but it was built over a literal decade. All these characters, and it's ending now with the actors' contracts being up in this franchise, like Robert Downey, Chris Evans. I don't think they're coming back. I think they're done.
No.
So
I think a movie that was overlooked, kind of, not like the new Spider-Man, the Homecoming.
I mean,
not
Far From Home.
Far From Home, yeah.
Oh, Far
I
From
I
Home.
think that
don't
it
think it was
was.
overlooked.
I think it kind of was. I think comparatively to like it wasn't as popular as Endgame, but like that movie was fantastic,
Well,
especially with Spider-Verse. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is the best
It's
Spider-Man
because
movie."
it's not supposed to be a blockbuster movie. I think it's the epilogue
But it
of
was
this
so
decade.
good.
That's what Far From Home is. It's the epilogue of what is the legacy that Tony Stark left behind.
think I
How is
enjoyed-
the world going to change?
I think I enjoyed Far From Home more than Endgame. I think that
I can
like
see how someone did that. I mean,
Haven't seen it.
you haven't
Mysterio.
seen it.
Mysterio.
Home's
They
pretty
did
good.
Mysterio 100%
Dude,
perfectly.
Jake
I
Gyllenhaal was
that was
perfect.
I
executed
enjoyed
very well.
Mysterio so well, and I mean, my only complaint is that, all the bad guys that Spider-Man fights in the MCU movies are Tony Stark bad guys. Think about it. I mean, what's his name? The guy who plays Vulture.
Yeah. Michael
He's
Keaton.
yeah, Michael. No, I'm trying to
Yeah, I know.
Adrian Toomes.
Yeah.
In the movie. He's motivated by Stark. All these bad guys come from Stark, which that is a common complaint we hear across the MCU, but it doesn't bother
But
me
it's
that much.
starting to build up that people are starting to hate Spider-Man.
Well, I think-
that's because that's the end
Well,
of
we
the
can't
film.
we can't spoil it
Yeah.
for you since you haven't seen it. But the ending of the film,
Yeah,
Or
it's
our viewers.
but the movie's been
obviously,
out for a
movie
very
been out
long
for forever.
time.
but the ending of that film, the end credit scene, they turned it on its head, and I did not think they
Yeah,
would
that
ever
was a
take
pretty
it
Yeah.
there.
good scene.
yeah, so it's,
And why I'm so excited, and I think Kraven the Hunter is going to be in the next film. Personally,
Yeah.
I cannot wait. I am absolutely so excited for the next Spider-Man film.
that was one of the weaknesses that Marvel movies had was their stupid villains. But Spider-Man, the Vulture, sick. Thanos, great.
Black Panther, Killmonger.
Yeah,
Killmonger
really
was a good
good.
villain.
And then Mysterio, just they were all so good.
I mean, that's because I think Jake Gyllenhaal was channeling Nightcrawler so well, and I love that film, and I think that he just brought that character straight over. But
So, another movie I would like to touch on, because we did do basically a whole podcast on it.
Joker.
See if our views have kind of transformed a little bit of Joker.
Joker.
Yeah.
I mean,
Joker.
I saw
Joker.
it again
Joker.
the other day. It's on Vudu now on streaming service.
Nice.
And I rewatched it. I like it more. I think as a whole film, and I'm gonna get so much fucking hate for this, I like it more than The Dark Knight.
Get up.
Yeah, I know.
Nope.
I'll be
Why?
back never.
Why?
Nope.
It's as we said before in the other one. It stretches what the definition of what a comic book can be, a comic book film can be. It's because I mean when you get the MCU or something like that, it doesn't go to the world's darkest places. Because sure, Thanos kills everybody. Spoilers in Infinity War. We know that.
What?
Yeah. Well, really?
Well,
and
it
Penguin.
only kills half of
yeah,
everybody.
you know,
That's not specific.
yeah.
We can spoil that.
Yeah. It's been 2 years since that movie came
I
out.
know.
If you haven't seen it, that's saying on me. But
Nice.
that's they're gonna come back because there's another movie right after it. Joker, you don't know what's coming. It's a movie that is unpredictable at
Well,
its
there's a
base
sequel.
level.
What?
Yeah.
They
there's a
actually
sequel.
have said that. Ryan, he said he wants to work on a sequel.
News to me.
Yeah.
What?
But I think that it just works so well. It hits all the right emotional beats for me. I think
Yeah.
it makes the most sympathetic character that I hate the fucking most. Like I want to like help him, but he's also like a piece of shit that you like. This guy's actually kind of
Do you
crazy.
think it's a better film than
I
Dark
think
Knight?
the social commentary it provides makes it a little bit better for me.
Better for you, but do you think it's like an objectively better film? Like mechanically wise, film wise?
Honestly, cinematography wise, I do like it more. I mean, as far as like in technical level, I do like it more.
It's more of an
For
art
me-
house film for sure.
For me, it just
Yeah.
like Joker fit in its own shoes better. You know what I mean? It was more. They were more comfortable. They knew exactly what boundaries they should and what they shouldn't have pressed on. Which, like, I'm not saying that Dark Knight didn't do that.
I think
I'm
it's
just saying that it was.
It's also more partially my comic bias
It's a bit.
because I have such a love for the Killing Joke
Yeah.
that to see it almost get partially adapted into a film, not the animated Killing Joke, do not watch
I
that.
think it got. I don't know if I'd agree with that.
It was more
I think it
immersive
kinda was its own
to
thing.
me.
Well, it took elements from the Killing Joke, like
So did
no.
Dark Knight, to be fair.
a little bit. I mean, the backstory line Joker gives here and there. But I'm talking about as an actual story.
He's a character.
And I like seeing someone become Joker rather than they're just the Joker. Which, not to say that Heath Ledger's performance is bad, because it's not. It's an amazing performance. But if I had to pick between the two, I'm choosing Joker.
I really like Dark Knight's, like, kind of yin and yang of Batman, Joker.
But I'm so tired of
So
seeing
strong
Batman.
in that movie.
If I learned one thing this year is I'm tired of Batman. And that is Zack Snyder's fault.
Yeah, fuck
I
Batman.
am just... But I will say on the note of DC, Shazam. Go see Shazam.
Did that
Holy
come out
crap.
this year?
It's a Christmas... Yeah, it's a 2019 movie. It's a Christmas movie, weirdly enough. I think it came out like either like maybe December of 2018. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But
I don't see it up here.
Shazam is so good. Holy crap. I did not expect it to be great. I think it's the best DC movie that I've seen, in my opinion, out of their whole universe, even more than Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
Man of Steel.
Oh, you're talking about like Zod, the best character, right? Yeah. No.
I do like the actor that plays him though.
I think
What's his name?
Shazam had so much Henry Cavill
No.
or Zod. Yeah, it was Zod. I don't remember.
He's a great actor.
But it had so much heart and it never overstepped its bounds. And I don't know, it was just believable.
So-
where it's just, everything else is just so dark and broody.
So we're running out of time, so I think what we should do is go over, like, really quick, like, how we thought of 2019 as a year, and go name our favorite video game, or least favorite video game, or, like, and then favorite movie, or, like, whatever you feel 2019 represents for you.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
do you want to start that,
I'll
Caleb?
go first. I think a game that we should have talked about that we didn't really give time to is Pokemon.
Sword and Shield.
Sword and Shield are the first mainline Pokemon games on a console,
big.
not a mobile device, I think, ever. The last
Sounds
console
right.
Pokemon game before Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee was
Tournament.
XD, Shadow.
So-
Yeah,
Some
Shadow.
Colossus,
yeah.
GameCube.
Oh
But
my
those
god,
weren't
yeah.
main games. Those were
Wait,
just
wasn't there
games.
Rumble
Just
on
an
the
arena
Wii?
fighter.
That-
That's not in a
Yeah.
main game, though.
But that's not
Yeah,
even
yeah,
a game.
Yeah.
But this is the first mainline Pokemon game. It was kind of controversial in
Yeah.
a way that Nintendo seems to be appealing more to potential new Pokemon fans instead of the old diehard fans.
Well, it would have been dumb for them not to put one on the Switch. It was going to have to happen eventually. I think that was the next
There are a lot
logical
of
step.
controversial points with it, like the Pokemon, how they didn't all get ported over, which is understandable. They're over 800 now.
Yeah.
But that was a huge thing that people
Yeah,
were
the whole
so
thing is
mad
collecting
about.
every Pokemon.
You're never going to make everyone happy, when
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, they took a big step, and I think that it would have been nice to have that. But I think the product they ended up giving us was still like spectacular. I didn't even play the game. I saw my brother play it, and it.
I know
looked
for
amazing.
the diehard like Pokemon players, it was I can't remember the name of the mechanic, but the
Gigantamax.
Gigantamax. I heard that really like sullied their
Gameplay,
their viewpoint of the strategy to
There was
Yeah.
a mouse
Game
cursor in the
balancing.
credits.
Ugh.
Yeah.
unacceptable.
Well, not my
That's
monkey,
all
not
I
my
know about
circus.
that game.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it was intentional. Maybe it's an Easter
Yeah.
egg.
It's a new Pokemon.
Definitely quite a few polish
Mouse
errors
at you.
in that game.
Mouse and Chew.
But there's watching the animations for the legendary Pokemon is kind of brutal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It gets crazy. Some like meteors and stuff, doing some like Naruto-esque moves.
Least favorite? Yeah, least favorite.
My least favorite game of 2019.
Hmm.
Jeez,
Yeah,
I
let's
don't
put it in a
know.
spot there.
World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth.
Damn, you stole my. You son of a bitch.
I love
Ugh.
Battle for Azeroth. It sucked me in, but
And then
it just got to a point.
then
Where
it just
what
sucked.
the hell? What the fuck am I doing?
Played a WoW Classic.
I played a fair amount of WoW Classic too. That was fun.
How was that?
It's nice going back to the classic WoW experience. It does things differently than retail nowadays. Some are better, some are worse. The world is a lot more immersive. It feels a lot bigger, and it feels a lot fuller.
That's fair.
Interesting.
I mean, when you introduce so many elements into
That
something,
makes me
it feels
wanna go-
convoluted.
Play WoW
You need
Classic.
to get the classic squad.
Do you have a favorite movie of this year?
I didn't see that many movies this year. I'd have to come back.
saw
to
Frozen
me.
2.
I'll think about Frozen 2. D-Box cheeks.
How was
Yeah.
D-Box? I've never seen
Not good for
D-Box.
Frozen 2, but
Yeah, that's not the right movie to go use D-Box at.
We wanted to see D-Box
For
The Rise
Star
of
Wars.
Skywalker. We didn't talk about that.
But I'm glad we didn't,
We should
because
save-
we
should
have a podcast on that.
we'll save that. We'll save that.
We're gonna do a podcast
Yeah,
on that.
we're gonna save that one.
I don't want to be like every other person talking about it, but there's some things that need to be said.
So Kyle, favorite movie, least favorite movie, favorite video game,
Okay.
blah blah blah.
Favorite movie. It's a toss-up between Parasite and Midsummer. I'm gonna have to go with Midsummer for my
Really?
favorite movie. Game Resident Evil 2 remake. I think that I was legitimately surprised by how good it was. And
More
now
than a remake?
the remake was
No, more than a remake.
more than a remake.
Was
is
it
it?
more than a remake?
Oh yeah, it's a new game. Like I said earlier, I think it's the best Resident Evil game I played, and they're making 3 with multiplayer, where one person plays as the guy controlling like the nests, and you close off doors and send zombies after them. It's kind of like Left 4 Dead.
Dungeon Master.
So I'm really excited for that going forward. Least favorite game. That's a tough one, honestly. I don't know. I mean, I was gonna say WoW because
You can still
You
say
can
it.
dog on WoW some more.
I mean I can because coming as someone who never played Classic and had such a good time with Legion, going into VFA was appalling, and I built such a character that I love my main. I don't even play him anymore. I don't know. I just feels like a piece of me somewhere is just gone out there somewhere in the WoW ether because
Do a whole podcast.
Battle
on
for
Warcraft.
Azeroth is Battle for Azeroth.
Do a whole podcast.
Nice.
But yeah,
On
you
it.
know,
Should.
it should have been better. Shadowlands, I don't have high expectations for, but please God, do something better.
Alex?
Fortunately, I didn't watch enough movies this year, but
You
I'm
pick a
still gonna,
show.
yeah, I'm still gonna hand it to Joker,
Yeah.
just
That's
because
fair,
it fit extremely well for what I like to see when I watch a movie. So I'm gonna put that out there. Games this year. Did it have to come out this year? Could it just be
No,
game
you
of,
It's the game you played.
game of my year, 2019. I'm gonna kind of
Lethally.
League of
You
Legends.
stole mine.
League of
League of
Legends.
You know, out of all the grindy games that I played this year, I'm gonna give it to Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Oh, on
Oh,
Switch,
that's right.
baby.
Oh, yeah.
2007.
Well, on
Yeah.
Switch.
And that's just how good it is.
Remember the day after New Year's? We were all here playing Diablo 3 on the
Um,
Switch for like almost the whole day. That was amazing. I don't know.
Big fan, huge fan of that. Did good grinding on that. Honestly,
We played.
starting to get the itch again. Kind of want to play it
it's
again.
that time, dude.
Other than that, I really like Lethal League. It's quick matches, good time with your friends, super easy to pick up,
Succinct.
applicable, accessible because it's on Switch.
Yeah.
Shout out to Demon X Machina for being overswamped by Borderlands 3.
Oh, we had
Rest
such
in
an arc.
peace.
All 3 of us were
Um,
about to buy that game full ass, and then
and they were
Borderlands
like-
3 released at the same
It's
time.
like literally straight up the the
Felt so bad.
girl looking at the guy looking at the other game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
We were legitimately about to buy it, and then we looked like,
Yeah,
wait,
I
when does
remember-
Borderlands 3 come out?
remember-
same day.
Same
Oh
fucking day.
shit!
I remember sitting in
Ah,
front of my
shit.
Switch at the eShop, ready to play it, and then I hear the sounds of Borderlands 3 from my frat brother's room down the hall, and haven't looked at it since.
Yeah.
I haven't played
unfortunately.
Borderlands.
So unfortunate.
That's what I need.
But other than that, those are the big ones. I'm a little bitter at it now, but Smash Ultimate was up there. I cannot deny that I played it thoroughly throughout the entire year, nonstop.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
Don't lie.
I cannot deny that it has
played
to
a
be
lot.
up there. It has to be up there. I'm a little bitter towards it against it because that game
Melee.
will make you actually salty.
Yeah, oh, we've been there.
With that, I'll go.
Yeah, you're
So,
going.
top 2 games for sure is Lethal League. That game's just so much fun. I picked it up for the first time. I'm like, I hate this
Lethal
game.
League
Pick-
Blaze.
yeah, I picked it up for the second time. I love this game.
yeah.
And then I think I definitely have to give it to. Why can't I think of the name? Oh my god, I'm so dumb.
Give me
Describe it.
describe.
Obsidian.
Outer
Outer
Worlds.
Worlds.
Yeah.
Brain fart.
Minecraft.
okay.
Hey, Minecraft. Yeah. No, Outer Worlds.
Mine Worlds.
Yeah, Outer Worlds is probably the game of the year for me. I think I haven't
That's
picked
very
up
much
like a
up there.
new IP in so long, and I picked that great game up, and it's just fantastic.
I now
Absolute
own
blast.
both Red Dead 2 and Outer Worlds on PS4
need to
through
play
my
What the hell-
dad.
What the hell's
Yeah.
going on, man?
So I
Pick-
can just,
what the
just
shit?
play through. Yeah.
So my favorite movie. It's Marriage Story. I don't know if you guys have ever
Interesting.
seen it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
It's
I haven't watched it
Adam
yet.
Driver, Scarlett
and
Johansson.
Yeah, and I mean, it won
That's-
awards
That's
for
my
that
actually
one
the movie
scene.
I want to watch. Like that's like on my watch.
It's
next.
It's been on my list. I just haven't got around to it.
so good. Adam Driver better win that Oscar because he performs the shit out of that role, and I didn't really care for him as an actor before this, but like I can tell he is.
Oh, you need to see.
he's-
There's some movies you need to see.
Oh, I
that
know,
came out
I-
this last year.
yeah.
There's a zombie
The Black
one.
Klansman
with-
was pretty good.
There was a zombie one with Bill Murray that he did. The Dead Don't Die. That's what it's called. And it was like an indie film that went under the radar, and I heard it was pretty funny.
Yeah, Adam
So-
Driver is a fantastic actor. Scarlett Johansson did a really good job as well.
Oh yeah, we
and
know she's a great actress. Though.
But the other movie I want to mention is Us.
yes,
Us
excellent,
is so good,
excellent.
and Lupita better win that Oscar as well because she did
The
so
voice
well.
work she did for that film is insane.
And then the music is
Yeah.
that's my music of the year. It goes to Us.
Yeah.
I was watching a review of Rise of Skywalker, Red Letter Media's, and they were like, instead of Rise of Skywalker, you should just watch Marriage Story.
Rise of Marriage.
I do have a least favorite game. It's Ultimate Smash Ultimate.
Oh my god, you
Dude.
play the game so much.
Hey, I think then he has authority to
That's
speak
what
on it.
happens when you play a game too much. You start to dislike.
No, I think as a party
Lethal
game.
League.
Dang.
I disagree.
Gotcha. I think
We haven't played it. Enough.
Ultimate as a
I
party
disagree.
game is fantastic. Get 8 people to play, so good. As a competitive game, it just I just can't get behind it. I can't do it.
I will not argue with that.
Smash
It-
players
I do
always
not
wanna
argue with
compare
that.
it to Melee.
No,
Yeah.
I love Smash 4. I absolutely
Smash 4.
adore Smash
I
4
hate Smash
competitively.
4.
I think it's so good. Before Bayonetta, it was so
Smash 4
good.
is gross.
But that's on the technicality game, more as like the competitive scene of it.
Yeah, the competitive scene of Ultimate is not appealing to me as much as Smash 4 or Melee does, or even Project M. Project M competitive scene was hype as hell.
Project M is the best Smash.
Yeah, so
Don't at me.
that's my least favorite movie though. I don't think I have a really
You don't have to have one.
I do.
yeah, I don't really have one. I wonder what it is. Yeah, Cats, best movie 2019.
Get the fuck out of here.
Here we go.
Alright.
There we go.
Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here.
Okay, saving the best for last.
All right, and that's a podcast.
Yeah. I'm David. This is Alex. Kyle.
See you next year.
Let me get my opinion.
That's my opinion.
Come on, Grandpa.
All right, Karen.
All right, so least favorite movie, Aladdin. Movie sucked.
I legitimately haven't seen it.
It's okay. Prince Ali bops. Prince
Yeah.
Ali.
Okay, but my reasoning is she shouldn't go to a movie to see 2 minutes of it.
It was just a bad movie. Like,
But in the theater though, it's
I wasn't interested. Bad movie. Good movie, Joker. Great Joker.
Bad movie, good movie, Joker.
Least favorite game? I have no idea.
You don't have to
I
have
didn't
one.
have a least favorite.
Jump
game.
Force.
Jump Force.
Jump Force.
is fine.
It's
Jump Force.
fan
is-
servicey, but not good.
It's not a good game, but that game is so much.
It's
Yeah.
fun,
Oh, yeah, you
dude.
get that.
It's
The
fun
fan
shit.
service.
If you
is
grew up on
nice.
Shonen, you love it. That's the only
I
people
wouldn't
that
say
love
you
it.
Love it. I mean, I
love
grew up
it.
on.
I
Shonen.
love it for the fan service. It's a bad game though.
You're not. It's like
Not
Smash
even a
Ultimate.
question.
You're not in it for the competitive part of it. You're
When I
for
saw
the
it was
fun
nominated,
of it.
they were trying to promote themselves to get nominated for awards. I legitimately laughed because that was never going to happen.
Yeah.
That was never going to happen.
Dude, the second
I'm
you
sorry,
see
but-
Goku's plastic ass face come out of the screen, just
Has anyone played that story legitimately? Have you seen
I
how
heard it.
horrifying it is? Goku walks in, his back is like bending backwards, sitting
I
there
can
like,
only imagine how horrible
Oh,
the plot
bro.
of that story is.
Okay.
it's
So-
just no plot.
it was more just like, look at this Unreal Engine.
Actually, you know what? I'm changing my least favorite movie to Rise of Skywalker.
I was about to say, I'm
Fuck
surprised you didn't say that.
Piece of shit. Anyway, favorite game. I don't know.
Fire Emblem?
Outer
Three
Worlds.
Houses.
Super Mario Brothers
Brothers
2.
Thank you, Donkey.
Are we going to get
Um,
sued for that
Probably. Probably.
Outer Worlds is up there. Reach is up there, but it's just basically
Just
a
out of
port,
Reach.
and that's what makes it so good. But it's not anything new, really, unless like Forge is like super cool with the PC. But
It will be.
I will say I don't like how they like release.
Oh, don't even at me
I
about
might,
that shit,
even
dude.
though I love Outer Worlds, I think I had a lot of fun with Three Houses.
Yeah,
Like,
you played a lot of that.
it's
a
like-
lot of
It's like you're
that.
talking in fire.
I remember
Window
several.
for a
I remember.
while.
I remember several nights where I went to bed and you were playing it, and I woke up and you were still playing
Honestly,
it.
we should probably delete the difficulty podcast. All right, let's talk about difficulty. 3 houses. Click off.
A lot of people like Three Houses.
It's a good game.
My
a
Three Houses
lot of
fans,
people
please
liked
speak
it.
up.
I mean,
Please
it won
speak
awards
up.
for a reason. It is a good game.
I mean, it is a good game, but it's.
This guy just hates Three Houses.
I don't hate
He's
it.
biased. He's biased.
You're biased. You're
Houses,
we
the
all
house is
biased?
divided.
That's true.
Yeah. So.
Are there
that's
any?
the podcast.
Are there any notable mentions you want to like throw out there before we end this? Anyone have any?
A lot of big
think of.
Nintendo games came out that none of us got.
Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah, there you
Super
go.
Mario
That's-
Maker
Mario
2.
Maker 2.
Yeah.
Olympic Games.
I mean, God of War was
Yeah.
in 18.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so that
God of
don't
War
count.
18. What?
God of War was in 2018.
Oh,
Last
I thought you were saying God of War 18 came out.
Well, yeah.
Call of
Wait,
Duty
wait,
18 did
you-
come
you
out
missed
this
it?
year.
You missed it, dude. They came out with 17 God of Wars last year. What the fuck?
Damn,
Yeah, we didn't talk about Call of Duty.
who cares?
I mean, I played 2 missions of the Modern Warfare remake from when my dad bought it.
Just give us a
But
Call of Duty game.
it's not my-
that's
it's not my
just
series
zombies.
anymore.
Call of Duty Zombies.
All right.
Metal
well,
Gear
the
Survive.
real best Call of Duty game this year, Call of Duty Mobile.
I heard it
Yes.
was really good. Yeah.
I played Call of Duty Mobile. It's good.
I can't.
Mobile
It's what
games?
it's pretty much what
Can't
you
do
want.
it.
Think it's pretty
Talk
much what you
about
want. A
mobile
control
games.
scheme that doesn't make
It's
you
only
want to
one true
like
one. Doodle
forget
jump.
you ever played video games ever. It's a control
No.
scheme that works. It's good. You get to play class. It's very straightforward.
It has
it's,
Nuketown.
it's classic Black Ops 2 maps.
Like,
Like
this guy's onto some shit. Doodle Jump? That was a good fucking game.
Well,
Game of the Year 2019.
I think-
Doodle fucking
let's
Jump.
save mobile games for a different podcast.
Simpsons tapped out.
Game of the Year 2019.
Yeah.
Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Z Dokkan.
No,
I said mobile game.
We did forget to talk about JoJo's.
Oh, I mean, that's anime in review, I guess.
see you next year for
Yeah.
part 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
part 6 when?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5 was probably my favorite show in 2019.
Cathartic.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I think it came out in October, but it stretched out to
I,
2019.
don't know, I like separating my animes from my live actions.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know,
Okay.
I don't know. It's a different medium for me. It doesn't
I
have to be
choose
separate.
separate.
I don't-
Live
It's a
action
different
video
medium.
game.
Anime, TV show, hentai.
well, you're directly comparing, let's say, The Mandalorian and JoJo. what
the,
the
Man-
fuck?
the Mandalorian.
Oh yes,
JoJo.
the Mandalorian stand. Yeah, obviously no.
Mandalorian stand.
Baby Yoda.
Stands are JoJo.
That's sweet.
Boys, we did
Don't know.
it. Merged the universes.
Go watch JoJo's if you haven't. It's pretty serious.
It'll put hair on your chest.
It will.
Yeah. There's no hair on your chest.
Oh yeah, he's repping it already right here,
He's
dude.
wearing a JoJo.
He has a dream.
All right. Anyone else?
Drugs are bad.
Anything
Yeah.
else people
Drugs
want
are bad.
Drugs are bad. Anyone else want to milk anything?
There's gonna be a lot of good content in the future on this channel. There's gonna be a lot of good stuff happening. So I'm excited to do some stuff. We have a really cool project that we.
Oh yeah,
We
it's
did,
in the works.
We can
It's
talk
already been.
about it a little bit. It's basically a documentary, and we want to talk about the concept of a LAN party. So I don't want to get too much into it. I want it to be a little bit.
I wonder
keep
what
an eye
game
out
it's
for it.
about. I wonder what game it's
It's about
about.
Halo.
Keep an eye out for it. It'll be. It's in the works.
It's going to be our
Pretty
biggest
neat.
project
So
yet.
yeah, absolutely.
I think 2020 will probably be a big, fat, juicy year for the video games.
Oh, yeah.
Animal
I'm not gonna lie,
Crossing.
This
Animal
year
Crossing.
for video games, there was like some real high highs, but there's some low ass lows.
Fallout 76. Hey,
There's some
Yeah.
low
dishonorable
lows.
mentions. Fallout 76.
Top
So
of
next
my
year-
head for next year, what do we have? Half-Life Alyx,
Wow.
Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
There's a lot of things that we're waiting to hear on more about too.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things so like
The new generation of consoles.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Ghost of
Who
Tsushima.
knows?
Yes, that
That game
game.
looks pretty. If you like Sekiro, check out Ghost of Tsushima. Looks pretty sweet.
Is it a Dark
I'm
Souls
kind of ready to
thing?
laugh at it.
From software? From software?
I don't think it's from software. It's a
It
samurai
definitely
like
looks
game.
like it.
It's a Sekiro's thing, though.
That's from software.
Yeah.
But this is
No,
no.
but I'm saying, why is it related to Sekiro?
It's a samurai game,
It looks
Um,
very similar. Yeah.
and it's a little more brutal.
Samuraiist.
It's a little more. I guess.
Samurai just sweet.
Ah shit, you got me.
Samurai Jack's.
I'm kind of ready to laugh about it, but like Elder Scrolls 6. But they had to come out with another game first. They had to come out with a whole ass another game first.
Ah,
but, yeah.
microtransactions 6. We're
Like I
talking
said.
EA.
But yeah. But there's things that we're waiting on. So I'm hoping this
not
year
ready.
we're gonna run it back. We're gonna do overall better. You know what I mean?
This is for
Overall, it's-
entertainment in 2020.
Yeah.
And good vibes.
Yes.
And good vibes.
All right. Happy New Year's.
Yeah. I think you should leave.
You
us
gonna do
out
the
as
sign out or
usual.
what?
Yeah, what the fuck?
We're just gonna...
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
See you next year. Bye bye.
All right.
Bye, guys.
This is the Guys with Beards. I'm Sean.
I'm David.
I'm Alex.
I'm Kyle.
Caleb.
And we'll
See you next year.